What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 76, where we will take a look at week 6. And it's also part 1 of this episode because Ben and Joe will be covering part 2 later on. With me tonight to go over the craziness of week 6 is Jason Ashby from Denver, Colorado. How are you, Jason?
I'm doing well, Mike Haber. It's you're absolutely right. Week 6 was another crazy week. Lots of shifting in the standings, but also I feel like we're starting to see that separation a little bit. There are definitely some teams that are starting to settle towards the bottom and some that are starting to settle towards the top. But there's always that middle chunk of teams that are going to be mixing and matching and moving up and down. So lots of excitement.
All right, yeah. So let's dive into this one right here. And where are we starting, Jason?
We are starting with what I consider to be the slobber knocker of the week, and that was your matchup with our commissioner, Ben Nisman. Tell me about it.
Yeah, this was a crazy matchup. I mean, he was up really big for a while, throughout most of the week, and I thought I was in trouble. But we were so close in so many categories that it was like, I had to keep reminding myself, there's the whole weekend ahead. I've still got moves to make. I've still got, pitchers to pitch. I still have power hitters to swing. So it was playing the slow game. I'm pretty proud of how I managed this one. I knew I was losing ERA, WHIP, and losses like going into this pretty much. So kind of managed with that in mind.
Yep.
But yeah, let's dive right into it here.
Yeah. So you take the 12-9 victory over Ben, cementing yourself in first place again, and dropping Ben down into 6th. He drops 2 spots in the standings to 6th place. Looking at close categories, Mike, you won the week, so you won by two steals, 1 walk by a batter, 1 win, and 3 relief appearances. Ben wins by the triple, the home run, the error, 4 walks by a pitcher, and 007 on the whip. You guys tied in nothing. On your bench, you know what? Let's play the game. You went 9 for 34.
That's not great, but that's between a 250 and a 333. So,
It is.
but it's a little bit closer to a 250. So let's go like 272.
Ooh, 265. 265. 5 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, a walk, and 11 strikeouts. The only thing that plays is the home runs, which and one of them was a pinch hit home run from Nolan Gorman. So there's not much you could do there. It sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think there was also a rowdy home run on the bench on Tuesday, but he's tough to get in when you have Vlad at first base. So
right.
Yeah. Let's take a look at your transactions. Starting off with Lance Lynn.
Oh.
Yeah, that was not a great start to the week, was it?
No, and I knew after that start that I was toast. So
so you weren't.
Right.
After that, it was really just a bunch of relievers. Except that I think you picked up Alex Wood, who I think you were expecting to make a start, and he did not.
No, I actually thought he was going to be the bulk pitcher because I knew Brebbia was starting, so I knew he was guaranteed a relief appearance. I just thought it was going to be longer than an inning, but
yeah,
he did give me what I asked for, so that was nice of him.
And then you closed the week. So you started the week with the Lance Lynn disaster, but then you closed the week with Tanner Bibby, and he did pretty well for you on the last game of Sunday.
Yeah, he made WHIP actually competitive, which probably made Ben sweat a little bit because he had to start Michaelis going into that night game.
Yeah.
Because he was still below the minimum at that point. All his relief pitchers were done. So it was Michaelis or bust to get to the minimum. Luckily for Ben, he kept the whip kind of low and pitched fairly well, but it didn't really change much.
Yeah. Let's get into your key players real quick, and then we'll get to Ben's, and then we'll get your let you have the floor. For your MVP, I am giving it to Marcus Semien. 296 average, a 375 on base, 7 runs, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, 3 steals, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Just another stat-filling week for Marcus Semien.
Yeah. Yep.
Gonna give your least valuable hitter. You had a great offensive week this week.
Yeah.
So it was really tough, but I'm gonna give it to Rowdy Tellez. We missed the home run on Tuesday. So aside from that, it was a 143, the 250, a walk, 2 strikeouts, an error, nothing else. Again, tough to get in when you have Vlad, and now you have Harper back, you have Correa. There's a lot of moving pieces here to try and get in a guy like Rowdy Tellez.
Yep.
On your pitching side, again, it was an interesting pitching week this week. I'm gonna give this to where is he? Your namesake here. Here he is, George Kirby. Another strong start from him this week. 7 innings, a win, 9 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a .86 WHIP. This kid's been really, really impressive.
Yeah, I'm so grateful I have him on my team. He's throwing like pretty much 6+ innings every time he goes out, except for that one start in the first start of the year.
His first start of the year, yeah. Like you take that out, and season ends today. You're talking about Cy Young candidate right here.
Yeah, he's been incredible. So I'm lucky to have him, but it was definitely a rough pitching week. It felt like besides Kirby, Bibby, and Verlander, like any other arm I threw out there was getting mashed. So
yeah. And I thought it was interesting that you had Bibby twice this week. You had him for both of his starts, but you dropped him in the middle of the week, which was kind of interesting.
Yep. Gave him another shot. He earned it. He begged his way.
Yeah, and he came through. Especially since the first one did not go well. But I am going to give you the choice of who you want to be your Cy Young, because we talked about Lance Lynn, but also Wade Miley. I mean, their lines are almost identical. So they could be co-winners of the Cy Young, or if there's one you don't like the most, you can choose that guy.
I'd like to give it to Lance Lynn because look at their matchups. Wade Miley against the Dodgers and Lance Lynn against the Royals.
Very fair. Yeah, 5 innings, a loss, 2 homers, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, a 12.60 and a 2.20. Yeah, against the Royals. Look, I had that with Michael Kopech a couple weeks ago, where I against the Royals, where I thought that was a shoo-in for a great start, and it did not happen. And yeah, same thing with Lance Lynn. Not good.
That's all right. He's off the team now.
Yes, and in fact, he is now on the other Haber brothers team. So he picked him up for this start tonight.
Yeah, good luck to you, Josh.
Switching over to Ben, on his bench, he goes 15 for 61. You want to take a stab?
Yeah, 15 for 60 is a 250, right? So that's a little bit better, a little bit a little bit lower. Yeah, so that's a 247.
Oh, 246.
Oh.
3 runs, 2 doubles, 7 RBIs, 7 walks, 8 strikeouts. The 7 walks would have made a difference, but hard to get those in. The other thing that was interesting was he benched a start from Michael Wacha back on Tuesday against the Twins, in which he earned a win. And that win would have tied the category. But he also walked 3 guys. So you talked about that whip. that may have impacted the whip. So, it is an interesting dynamic to think about. Was it the right move? Did it come back to haunt him? Who knows?
Yeah. It's also interesting because I based my entire strategy on that benching. Because if he had played Waka, I wasn't sure if I was gonna go for like the bulk, like the innings, the wins, and the strikeouts side of things. But he benched him, and I knew that he was trying to inch his way to the minimum. So for me, I was like, all right, ERA and whip losses, like I'm gonna lose all those, but like, go big or go home.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And it ended up, we ended up squeaking it out.
yeah.
His moves this week, well, he only made 2.
Yeah.
And he added Scott Alexander and dropped Daniel Bard, and then he added Mason Thompson and dropped Kevin Kelly, and also dropped Alexander again. That was it. I don't know. I know he's been, and I'm sure he's going to talk about this on their show too. But I know he's been happy with his team, or he's had a hard time finding people to drop. And he had Jimmy Herget stashed away in the NA for a couple of days after being activated. So I don't know if that was a strategy or what the motivation was there. But it kind of kept him from making moves until he was able to find somebody to drop to activate him.
Right.
And the Mason Thompson move did not work at all because the guy gave up 2 earned runs in I think he faced 4 batters and gave up 2 runs.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for him I thought he was just gonna like make 7 ads on Sunday because he had all of those ads to use, and I think he had a lot of relief pitchers, in the queue in the starting lineup on Sunday, and none of them just didn't get in the game. So,
yeah. If we take a look on Sunday real quick,
it's not like, even if he did like add 7 guys, he was waiting for these all these relief pitchers to get in the game, and one of them did.
Yeah, and that was the Mason Thompson outing that was just a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, but none of the other guys came in. And you can't really. That's what makes relief appearances so difficult, right? Because you can't. You can, to a certain extent, predict who's coming in, but you can't always. You just don't know. You don't know who's available. For how long, how many pitches. It's a real struggle to try and make sure you get that relief appearance.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm presently watching Justin Verlander get beat up by the Rays. So
I know I made the wrong choice by starting him, but
yeah. So did the Mets apparently.
I guess so.
Let's get into Ben's key players. Any guesses on who his MVP is going to be?
Yeah, no, I don't really have a ton of questions about it. Juan Soto wore me the hell out, but also Nolan Arenado wore me the hell out. So I don't know who you gave it to.
Yeah, we're gonna give it to Juan Soto here. The 455, 538 on base, 3 runs, 5 doubles, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, 2 steals, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. Yeah, that's a line. And I know you texted me and early in the week saying he was already the MVP because he just had just a ridiculous week.
Yeah. I think he started off like 8 for 11 in the week. I was like, are you kidding me right now?
And he didn't have Sunday was the only hitless game that he had all week.
Yeah. Yep. And Arenado too, like shout out to that guy who got a triple and a steal. Like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and 8 RBI. He ended up with a really strong week. He needed that because he had been kind of, he hadn't been getting off great so far this year. So to have a week like that is huge.
Yep.
Gonna give the least valuable hitter to good friend Carlos Santana, who just hit a .71 or .71, 188 on base, an RBI, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Not much going for Santana. Again, it's tough to kind of get all these guys in. And I think there was a day or two where Santana had a good day on the bench.
Mhm.
But he's tough. He's tough to get in when you have Nathaniel Lowe and you have Luis Ariz and you have Josh Bell. Like it's tough to get these guys in.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Cy Young, you mentioned pitching wasn't great this week for either of you, actually. So I am going to give the Cy Young to Michaelis because of that strong start on Sunday, where he got that win against the Red Sox. But overall, I mean, it was a good week. 10 in the third, a win, but 5 walks, 7 strikeouts, a 174 and a 126. So not a all-star level week, but it was good enough.
Yeah, it was good enough.
Yeah. But it wasn't a good enough week for Mr. Cortez, who was the setup of the week. 9 in the third over 2 starts, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts, a 7.71 and a 1.82. Yeah. And it's a bittersweet for you because he did poorly against you, but also that means the Yankees did not do well. Although they won both of those starts, didn't they?
They did. I on May 13th, that's exactly what I needed to happen.
Yeah. It was a horrible start, but they won the game, and that's kind of what you're getting from Verlander, right? It was against the Rays, and he got beat up. The Rays are just they're relentless right now.
They are. They don't even have. They have like Harold Ramirez hitting leadoff, who's like knocking in runs left and right for the Rays right now.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
It's really stupid.
All right. So yeah, this matchup was really fun to watch. And I mean, the thing is, like, look, on Wednesday, Ben was up 12-5. On Thursday, he was up 11-6. And then by Friday, you had turned it all on its head. The floor is yours.
Yeah, no, it was. I was worried it was going to turn into what it turned into last year. I remember last year's matchup. He was up by a ton, and I think I added Austin Slater on that last Sunday, and it gave me like walks and runs and on base. It like tied everything in all those
I remember
categories.
that.
And he was so pissed off, and rightfully so. But I do want to say that it feels good to win a matchup against him, and I feel like I earned it this time. Like last time I didn't win against him, but I think I got the tie, but a lot of that was just like dumb luck on a Sunday with the Austin Slater pickup. This one I feel like I really managed. I played the relief pitcher game with the relief pitcher master, and I feel like I did a pretty good job, mixing and matching and swapping guys out. I got 7 saves to his 2. So
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely an unlucky week for him as far as saves go. It was nothing he could have done differently. So I'm not taking away from him on that, but I do feel like piecing together like the Wandy Peralta ad was huge for me. And that was like
Yes.
halfway through the week. The Gallegos trade right before the week started was specifically for this. So these were like little moves that I had made to try to like put myself in the best position to at least compete with the style that he has. I knew I had to win a chunk of the offensive categories and then just go big with the pitching. And I was hoping he would continue his strategy of inching to the 42, because if he had added like 3 or 4 starters on, I don't know, Saturday or Sunday, like I would have panicked because I wouldn't have known how to necessarily play that.
Right.
But I also kind of figured that like he's happy with his team, and I don't think he wants to break it down for one matchup in week 6, So for me, it was like trying to read how he's going to play this out. Obviously, I had worst case scenarios in my head, like he's going to add 7 starters on Sunday and just fill his hole. But I do feel proud of what I did this week. And it's such an honor to play against him and to defeat him, because it doesn't happen very often where we really get to go toe to toe and I feel like I come out on top. So Ben, hats off to you. It was really a back and forth, like awesome showdown. So
It was.
nothing to hang your head on, or hang your head in shame about this matchup at all, because it was really.
And he's still, I mean, 63 and 55. Like, he's still in sixth place. He's in a great spot. He's Ben Nisman. He's gonna be fine. He's taking his anger out on me right now this week. So I am gonna be the whipping post. I can feel it, and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, he absolutely will be just fine. I think he already got like 3 saves this week, which is more than what he did all of last week. So
he made it halfway to the minimum on the first day of the week.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah. But any other thoughts or comments on this matchup?
Yeah, no. Just again, it was fun to watch. To me, it was the matchup of the week, and you did it. You came out on top. So, congrats to you. And let's see if you can hang on to that top spot.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
That'll take us to our next matchup, which is going to be my matchup against Adam. And boy, oh boy, was this one stressful.
Oh,
you did the research on this one, so tell me what you saw.
Yeah, this was another one that was just so back and forth all week. It was so much fun to watch. And you were both like using ads, you were both like staying active, you were both like just fighting it out. And it ends up in a 9-9 tie. Overall, are you happy to end in a tie, or are you pissed that you should have come out on top?
I going into the week, I would have wanted a win here. I haven't won in a while. I really wanted a win, but with the way that the week went, I am happy to walk away with a tie. And in fact, not only did I walk away with a tie, but I think I ended up even moving up in the standings. So I will take that.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. I just wanted to update you that Lance Lynn has thrown 1 scoreless inning with a strikeout.
So far, so good.
I will continue to update you. All right, so you ended up in the tie here. Let's talk about some close categories here. We'll start with you, who didn't win the week, but we won't start with Adam, who also didn't win the week. So Jason, you won by 3 runs. Nothing else close offensively. 2 saves, 1 walk given up by a pitcher, and 3 strikeouts by a pitcher. Adam wins by 3 strikeouts by a batter and 1 loss, 0.14 ERA, and 3 relief appearances. You guys tied in triples with 0, errors with 2, and home runs given up by a pitcher with 7. On your bench, all right, you want to play the game? Let's play the game.
Oh, God. Okay.
You went 15 for 49.
Ooh, wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
That many stats. That many. I am terrible at this game, so I'm gonna go 273.
306.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. 5 runs.
Yeah.
That's all right though, because 5 runs, 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 12 RBIs, a stolen base, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, and 2 errors. The good news is that none of it plays, and you benched 2 errors on Sunday, which would have played.
Yeah. Both of those came from one guy, from Ruiz, and since I had a good amount of steals, I didn't feel the need to have to start him, and that worked out.
Yeah, that definitely worked out well. I feel like that's your strategy. Get like 12 steals Monday and Tuesday, and then you could just bench.
Yep, pretty much.
So, I mean, obviously the counting stats aren't great, but like nothing hurt you. You dominated in those power statistics, and 12 home runs, 30 RBIs, 13 steals is kind of disgusting. Like that's like a dream week as far as like power speed combo goes.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's been kind of hit or miss with the power department with this team. Some weeks I'm like grasping for a home run, and then some weeks, yeah, I'm sitting pretty good. So it's hard to really know what I've got with this team because of that. Like it, is Dalton Varsho a guy who's gonna give me home runs? Is Pete Alonso gonna continue? Like
Yeah.
it's been hard trying to figure out what to do with this team.
It seems like it kind of rides on Alonso. Like if he has a great week, your team delivers power wise, but he has to carry the team power wise.
Kind of like his real team.
Kind of like his real team who's doing nothing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also fascinating to me that you were like 12 homers, 30 RBIs, 13 steals, and yet 6 doubles only, and you struck out 54 times. Like this team offensively is just an enigma. I don't understand.
I don't either, and that's a problem. And you're right. Like, and there was a point where I think he was winning like 11-3 in doubles or something like that, and I was like, well, fuck doubles.
Yeah, doubles are done. Not that you
Yeah,
can really chase doubles anyway, but
right. Because again, how do you protect a double? But you have to. I gotta figure that there's enough guys on this team that can hit doubles, like Franco
oh
and
yeah, oh yeah,
Julio and Duran. Like these guys should be double hitters, but
yeah.
not this week.
No, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Um, Yeah, you had a couple of benchings like that you probably could have gotten in there. You had Ruiz on the bench who somehow hit a home run. I think that was on Friday, but like it didn't matter.
Yeah, and like
Matter.
again, I'm not expecting him to hit a home run. Like,
Yeah, no, that's not why you play him.
right?
Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah, the home run four RBIs. Like,
yeah,
what?
yeah. So this week you actually were the recipient of 2 trades. So you traded Whit Merrifield and Chris Sale, and you received Jaron Duran and Dylan Cease. You also traded Taylor Rogers and received Taiwan Walker. So tell me about how those guys performed for you, Walker, Duran, and Cease this week.
Yeah, I love Duran. I love this kid in Boston. He's hitting in the middle of the order. He hit leadoff yesterday, Monday, but he's been hitting in the middle of the order. He plays every day, and he's got a power speed combo potential. He's already got 6 stolen bases. I just like this kid. I think he's finally going to get playing time now that Jackie Bradley's not there and all these guys are cleared out of there. He's got the playing time, so I like this kid. I think he's done pretty well so far for me.
Yeah.
The tough ones were Cease and Walker because Dylan Cease has been kind of this live wire, like you don't know what you're getting from him.
Yeah.
And we see he had kind of a mixed week. It was the first matchup, the first start of the week against the Royals. Again, he got shellacked, and then he goes and pitches a shutout against the Astros. So, am I happy with it? I'll take it. And the Taiwan Walker start was here in Coors Field, and he hadn't been great this year. He's been all right, but I took a shot in starting him, and I think all things considered, I'm happy with the way that he performed in Colorado.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's an impressive start there. Um, and it just anchors your pitching staff a little bit more. I remember talking last week about how Framber was like kind of the only anchor you had as far as like consistency and quality goes. And
Yep.
I obviously Cease is we just talked about how he's inconsistent, but it still is a possible ace type threat that you could employ on a given day.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted. At least until Rodon, if he ever comes back, somebody else to be that kind of 1A/2 number 2 starter behind Framber. Because yeah, I mean I've gotten lucky with guys like Bryce Miller and JP France and things like that. I've gotten lucky, but I can't count on that. I want somebody who's who I at least know what I'm going to get. And Taiwan Walker, I'm not going to get a whole lot of strikeouts from him. He doesn't strike guys out really, but he's a ground ball pitcher, so hopefully that limits home runs a bit. And he's playing on a winning team, so maybe he falls into a win here or there.
Yeah, definitely. You also got another trade done, but that one we will talk about next week, right? Because that's for this week.
Correct.
For your transactions, you added a couple of relief pitchers in James Karinchak, Sam Moll, and Jennifer Lawrence. You, I actually wrote that in the notes, and so I thought I was trying to get through it with a straight face. A bunch of starting pitchers in Luis Ortiz, Marco Gonzalez, Corey Kluber, Matt Boyd, which was not a good one, Brandon Bielak, and someone named Irvin. You also added Christopher Morel, which I thought was an awesome add for your offense, and just another guy you can play anywhere.
Yeah, and I tell you what, he's somebody who, and I said this to your brother too, that last year I envied you for having him pretty much all year, and then Josh went ahead and drafted him this year, and then they sent him down to AAA, and so he dropped him, and as soon as I saw that he was coming back up, I knew I had to get him because, yeah, this eligibility is great, and he's been hitting. Right now, there's no reason for them to take him out of the lineup. So
yeah.
I'm gonna keep riding it.
Yeah, definitely. And
I did just want to highlight the pitching ads because, especially with what happened with the rain out on Saturday with the Mets and the Nationals, I already didn't know when Max Scherzer was going to pitch because of his injury problems, and there was really no update as to when he was going to pitch. It was going to be sometime over the weekend, maybe, but it was really kind of unsure. And at the time, we were like close in innings, me and Adam, and so then I went ahead and got this Jake Irvin kid for the Nationals because I found out that him and Max Scherzer were going to be pitching on Sunday in what was essentially game 2 of that doubleheader. And I figured the Mets have been awful lately. So, and they historically they've done bad against pitchers I've never seen before.
Yeah.
So I figured this is great. I'll pick him up. Maybe I'll get strikeouts, and I'll even fall into a win. No, the one day that the Mets actually explode for runs is the day that I start the kid that they're going against.
That's always how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. All right, let's highlight some of your key players here. For your MVP this week, I'm gonna highlight let's go Christian Yelich here, who is unfortunately a little bit banged up right now, but this past week for you, he hits 400 with a 478 on base, 5 runs, 3 homers, 9 RBIs, 3 steals, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. For your least valuable player, we're going to highlight Eugenio Suarez with an 091 average, a 231 on base, a run, 1 stolen base, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Yeah.
I don't know what to do with this guy. I don't know what to do with him.
I know. And you're kind of like stuck with him, I guess, unless you put Morel there and put Vargas at second, and then, but
yeah,
that like occasional, he could still hit for power. He hasn't, but he can.
Yeah, I mean, 4 home runs all year. I'm expecting 4 home runs in a week from this guy.
Yes. Oh my God, Justin Verlander is getting destroyed.
Yes, he is.
Oh man. All right. It's okay. It's Tuesday. So on the pitching side of things, you know what? I also want to give a shout out to another least valuable, just because we've talked about him so much, but that's Dalton Varsho, who again just did not have a good week for you with the 158, 200, a run, a double, a homer, an RBI, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. Yeah.
Talk about inconsistency. This guy is up and down more than an elevator. And then the thing is, I bench him and he hits, and I start him and he doesn't hit.
Yeah, but I mean, again,
I actually came close to trading him a couple of times in the past couple of weeks, but I think I'm gonna hang on to him because it's just too tantalizing with this eligibility as a catcher, and in the middle of that Blue Jays lineup, he's got to turn it around.
Yeah, he really does. He has to. He can't hit this bad the entire year. He's gonna figure it out.
Right.
All right. So on the pitching side of things, we're going to once again give your Cy Young to Framber Valdez. 8 innings, a win, a homer, 12 strikeouts, a 1.13 ERA, and a .38 WHIP.
And the key thing there is no walks, because this guy, like as great as he is, he has a walk problem. Like
Yes.
he walks many guys. I mean, look, he actually had a couple starts with no walks, which is actually pretty impressive. This guy has always had a walk problem. So I'm happy to see 0 walks in a week.
Yeah, he's definitely improved from last year to this year as far as his walk total goes. I mean, you had another awesome start from Bryce Miller, but I felt like the win and the 12 Ks from Valdez earned him that distinction. Your Cy Yuck this week we will give to the aforementioned Matthew Boyd, who gave you an inning and a third, a loss, 4 walks.
4 walks, 1 strike.
4 walks, 1 strikeout, 33.75 ERA and a 6.75 WHIP. Yeah, we already talked about that one. It was against the Mets, and didn't work out.
Well, this one was against Seattle.
Seattle. Seattle.
Yeah, it was against Seattle, and the thing is, like, the Mariners haven't been hitting well. So, and I had that was the 12th, right? Yeah, I had Marco Gonzalez going in the same game. I figured, okay, 2 pitchers going against teams that can't hit, like that should work out. Well, it only half worked out.
Yeah, only half. All right, let's get into Adam here. On his bench. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
4 for 34.
Okay.
What did you say?
262.
4 for 34?
Yeah.
A 262? 4 for 34?
I don't know. Dude, I am a journalism major. Math. I took math for plants when I was in college.
That is a 118 batting average.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Oh, that was so good. I'm so happy that's on recording somewhere. 4 for 34. Here's the awesome part: 0 runs on his bench, which is interesting. A double, 3 RBIs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, and an error. None of it plays. If he had gotten some of those strikeouts in there, he would have lost it. So great job benching strikeouts and benching the error. Overall, Adam, like, exceptional job with the benchings this week. To not have 1 run on the bench is pretty miraculous.
Almost unheard of.
Yeah. Especially with a bench. Like we've seen that with, for his transactions this week, he didn't use a ton. He added a couple of catchers, Yan Gomes and Francisco Alvarez. He was trying to play a little bit of catcher roulette. 1 starting pitcher with Hayden Wesneski, which did not end up very well. And a couple relief pitchers with Gabe Spire and your favorite guy, Ian Gabot.
That guy, I know I texted you during the week. Like, that guy got a win.
Yes,
actually, he got 2 wins, but that guy got a win with this line. Like, how is that a win?
Yeah. But
wins.
I know. 2 wins on back-to-back days for this middle reliever on the Reds.
That, like, right? He didn't pick up this guy going, yeah, you know what? I think he's gonna get me a couple of wins this week. That's not why you picked him up.
No, absolutely not. But hey, it works out for him. Gabe Spire was not very good. He gave him a loss. So hey, at least at least he's getting some decisions with these waiver wire.
I guess it balances out.
Yeah. For his where are we? For his key players this week, let's give the MVP to, this is actually tough, but I'm going to give it to Dansby Swanson here because of those 6 doubles. So he had a 292 average, a 370 on base, 4 runs, 6 doubles, a home run, 6 RBIs, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. 6 doubles is pretty unheard of from a player during a week. So I could have easily given it to Torres, who had a nice week for him as well, but 6 doubles.
Yeah, he had two days with 2 doubles, so it's hard to come back from that, especially when my guys aren't double. He got 6 doubles from one guy. I had 6 doubles all week.
Wow, you would have lost to Swanson, or you would have tied Swanson.
Yeah.
His least valuable hitter of the week is a guy that tormented me the week before. So Tyro Estrada got a 154 average and a 185 on base, 3 runs, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, and 9 strikeouts. That guy was, nobody could get him out the week before. And here he is doing nothing against you.
Yeah. It's funny, we talked about this, how, I follow you in the schedule, and it seems like there's always one guy who torments you, and then he just loses that fire and doesn't do anything against me.
Yep. Sounds about right. I also want to give a shout out to my buddy Matt Olson, who did hit 063 this week with a 348 on base, but those 7 walks, I think, saved him from being the least valuable hitter there. Yeah,
because I think what did he get? Did he get like 1 hit all week? Yeah, I got 1 hit all week. But he walked 7 times.
Yeah. So at least he was getting on base. His Cy Young, if we flip over to the pitchers, I'm going to give it to Joe Ryan once again, who continues to dominate Major League hitting right now. 6 innings, a win, a walk, 10 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a .83 whip. Great job drafting this guy. And, he's just been awesome. He's been tremendous. Like, we're talking about 6 Cy Young candidates. Like, this is
in the 12th round.
Yeah. 12th round and 50 innings and 57 Ks and an ERA close to 2. It's pretty awesome.
That's terrific. That is a great value.
Yes. The Cy Young, we will give it to the aforementioned Hayden Wesneski. You have to. 5 innings, a loss, 4 homers, a walk, 5 strikeouts, 12.60 ERA, and a 160 whip.
And a demotion to AAA.
Yep. Goodbye, Hayden Wesneski.
Yeah, I guess they hate enough of him.
All right, my friend. The floor is yours for this matchup.
Yeah, this was this was stressful because there was a point during the week where I was down pretty big, as I recall. And I knew I needed a win. I knew I needed, or at least a close loss. I couldn't take a blowout. And I was worried. I was very, very worried. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to start with, where to pick up some categories. But by Thursday, Friday, I started figuring it out, and I was able to make some ads that I think worked out pretty well. The Christopher Morel thing worked out pretty well. So I'm happy walking away with a tie. Adam, thank you for making me have to work, and I look forward to having to play you again. It was fun, and this team. Like I said, this team, I still feel pretty good about it, but it's like the Mets. It's like they should be. I feel like they should be better than they're performing. They're a lot of underperforming right now. But I like the players, and I'm kind of in the Ben situation where I don't want to break it apart too much. I'm struggling to find guys to drop, for ad drops. Even guys who are struggling, like Grayson Rodriguez or, Suarez, Austin Hayes is struggling again. But I don't know if I'm ready to drop these guys. So I'm kind of stuck with what I got, and hopefully, it's only been 6 weeks, so let's see if they can turn it around.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have I don't think you have anything to fear here. You're still fine, like you're in seventh place, like you know, 2 games under 500. Like you're in a very good spot. So I don't think that like you still have time to figure out what this offense is, what this team is, and you're constantly building on the pitching staff. So I don't know. I feel pretty good looking at your team here.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. And yeah, I'm hoping if I can get something from Carlos Rodon, that would be tremendous. Um, in the meantime, let's see if Dylan Cease can do better for me than he did for Frank.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to take a second before we move on from this matchup real quick too, to talk about like we mentioned the Suarez thing and like third base, I don't think I've ever seen a position this like awful in a
Yeah.
regular season before. Third base is so empty right now. Like the waiver wire is just completely
It's barren.
evaporated. It's
I mean,
barren.
yeah. If Christopher Morel didn't have third base eligibility, it'd be really tough for me. But we talked about it, going into the season, right? There was those six, the top six. The Austin Riley, Manny Machado, Devers, Jose Ramirez, and Alex Bregman. After that, we kind of knew that it was going to be a bit of a gut check.
Yeah, it's true. And you know what's funny too is that like 4 out of 6 of those third basemen at the top just still are not performing. Like Bregman's
Yeah,
been bad. Like Devers has been okay. Um,
Machado's been,
Arenado just started heating up. Um, like
yeah, yeah.
it,
It's
this is such a black hole, and the only reason I know that is because Rendon got hurt this week, and I had
yeah,
to start exploring. And like, luckily, I worked out a trade, but we'll talk about that next week. I just figured it was a good segue because we were talking about Suarez here, because you're pretty committed at this point.
yeah, yeah. I am. I mean, I drafted him in the ninth round, so I really can't drop him. He's not really trade. He's got no trade value right now, so he's just gonna have to sit on the team. And again, hope that the Mariners are starting to heat up a little bit, so maybe he starts to heat up. We'll see.
Yeah.
And real quick, just to tap on Adam's team, because again, he made me sweat it out with his team. He's in 10th place. What did you see from this team as a whole?
From Adam's team. Look, when I played him, he was insanely competitive, and I granted I did win, I think fairly large against him, but like it was close for a while. And I think he's got the pieces there. The outfield scares me a little bit, his outfield depth.
Yeah,
Jack Sawinski is the type of guy that you add for like a hot week, which he did,
he's not,
but
he shouldn't be your starting center fielder.
I don't think he's your starting center fielder. I don't think Chas McCormick is your starting right fielder. I mean, Ian Happ is the best piece of this outfield.
And he
But
had a great week.
right. Yeah, he's hitting 303, but not much from like power speed department. So yeah, this offense scares me a little bit for him. He also like he needs Max Scherzer to be Max Scherzer, and if he's not, like this does scare me for this team.
Yeah. He just lost Drew Rasmussen. Drew Rasmussen throws 7 shutout innings, and then the next day he's on the 60-day IL. Like
Oh my
that couldn't
God.
happen the day before, but I digress.
Yeah. Oh. All right. You ready to move on here?
Let's do that. And our next matchup is one that you did the research on. This is going to be Kostas taking a big win over Frank Bucco.
Oh man. Yeah, this was crazy. And I give Frank so much credit. He didn't give up, he kept fighting, but like this is one of those that you knew early in the week that like, man, I don't see myself ever coming back from this. And unfortunately that was the case here. It was a 16-4 quadruple up shellacking. close categories here. Kostas wins by 4 runs, 1 triple, 1 walk by a batter, 1 walk by a pitcher, and 2 relief appearances. Frank wins by 1 error. That's the only non-pitching stat that he won. And 6 innings and a .07 whip. They tied in stolen bases with 8, which
Wow.
I feel bad for Frank because any other, except against you, any other opponent, 8 steals, I feel like you're probably gonna win. But
Yeah, wow. 16 steals in a week between the two teams is pretty amazing.
yeah. I feel bad. I really do because
Yeah.
it did reach. As I was following this matchup, it reached a point where he was like, all I can do is plan for next week at this point. Like this matchup is just shot, and that there's no worse feeling than that as a fantasy manager.
And it's hard, we talked about the standings. I mean, he dropped. He was looking great in fifth place.
Yeah.
And now he's sitting in 11th. After this big beating. This is the last thing that he needed.
Yep. It's true. On Kostas's bench this week. All right, Jason, let's see your math skills. 6 for 16.
6 for 16. Okay, that's not good for Kostas.
It's not a 600. I'll give you that clue.
Okay, that would be terrible. Let's go 354.
375, not bad.
Okay, I'm getting closer. I'm getting better.
He did leave, which I think was pretty interesting. Oh no, he won by the triple, but he did leave 1 triple on the bench. And he left. Oh, just lost my spot with him. There it is. A triple, an RBI, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. None of it plays. So 6 for 16, although it's a 375, and that's a tough average. It's, none of it really came back to bite him. There was 1 play that he should have made, and that was Tuesday, the 9th. He benched Ahmed Rosario, who went 4 for 4 with a triple. And that's
I know
all it is.
He's had trouble with this guy because he hasn't been performing well all year, and that's tough.
I think he was punishing him for not performing by benching him because the players that he played over Rosario, he played Kirk at utility, who went 0 for 4. He played Javi Baez at shortstop, who went 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts, and Lourdes Gurriel in left field, who went 1 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. So he must have been in bad form sitting on the bench.
Yep, that's tough. That's tough.
For his transactions this week, I got to give Kostas a ton of credit. He picks up Kendall Graveman, who gets him 2 saves. Who I know it's temporary because Liam Hendricks is coming back soon, but great job picking up Graveman and streaming 2 saves this week. He also picked up Keegan Thompson, and then 7 hitters. So Lourdes Gurriel, Kevin Kiermaier, Taylor Walls, Nick Prado, Schmitz Creek, Jake Fraley, and someone named Julks. So a couple relievers and 7 hitters.
Okay.
For his key players this week, let's highlight some weird people. I mean, my heart wants to give it to Freddie Freeman, but the other parts of me are going to give it to Jake Fraley because that's more fun. So
this guy went off this week.
Yeah, granted, it was not actually a ton of at-bats. He just went bananas in the couple of games that he played him. I think it was a 4 for 8 or something. Yeah, it was just those 2 days, the 12th and 13th, that he played him.
Okay.
Oh, wait, and he played hold on. Yeah, that's it. So he went 4 for 8. But that's 2 runs, a double. Oh, sorry, 5 runs, 3 homers, 8 RBIs, a steal, a walk, and a strikeout, 500 average, and a 556 on base. So
I mean, like he picked him up he only picked him up on the 12th
Yep.
because the guy went crazy against the Mets, like just destroyed the Mets in Cincinnati. And yeah, everybody's picking this guy up now because he's all of a sudden like on fire.
Yeah. Another weird power speed combo, but hats off there to Freddie Freeman, who also had a good week.
For sure.
As per usual.
And I want to give a shout out to this guy Schmidt, because I think the Giants are going to play him pretty regularly right now, and he had a really great week.
It was an excellent pickup for Kostas too, especially given what we were talking about before with the third base being a black hole. Like, awesome job, Kostas, finding this gem.
Yeah, and he's gonna play. He like since he's been called up, he's had 1 hitless game since being called up. Like, you can't beat that.
Yeah, you really can't. For his least valuable player, we're gonna give it to I got 2 names here, so I'll throw them both out. Alejandro Kirk, who did nothing. I believe it was like an 0 for 11, something like that. Whenever he played him, something like an 0 for 11.
He didn't get a hit the entire week.
No hit the whole week. And then Javi Baez, also a shout out to that guy who has since been dropped, but he hit 100 with a 100 on base, an RBI, a steal, 4 strikeouts, and an error. So peace out to Javi Baez. For his pitching, let's highlight the guy that we've been highlighting every single week when we talk about Kostas, and that is Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen had just another typical Zach Gallen week, 14 and 2/3 innings, 2 wins, 3 walks, 13 strikeouts, a 1.84 ERA, and a 0.89 WHIP. He's just filthy.
Yeah. Talk about Cy Young candidates. Like he's certainly up there.
Yep. For his Cy Young this week, we're gonna highlight Alek Manoah, who is supposed to be his other ace.
Yeah.
4 and 2/3, a loss, 2 home runs given up, 7 walks. Did I see that right? Oh no, 4 walks. 4 walks. Just underwhelming for a strikeout.
Yeah, 1 strikeout. He's been terrible. He's really been a big disappointment all year.
Yeah.
He's got 1 start against the Yankees and 1 start against the Royals. Everything else has been pretty just like mediocre at best.
Yeah. Shame. Shout out also to Brad Boxberger, who had a poopy week as well, but he has since been dropped,
and he's also on the injured list now
on the IL,
with a broken something.
Yeah, broken penis, because that's what everyone has right now.
It goes around.
It's true. Let's flip over to Frank here for on his bench. Really not bad. A 7 for 36.
Okay, I know this one. Yeah, that's okay. Cause 7 for 35. So yeah, so like 187.
194.
Oh, okay.
Very close.
All right, I got this. I'm getting this.
Yes, very, very close. He had 4 runs, a double, a triple, a home run, 3 RBIs, 7 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Unfortunately, the 4 runs and the triple both would have tied those categories, and the 7 walks would have won that category. So instead of 16-4, you're looking at 13-5.
Yeah, and 7 walks, all you need is 2.
Yeah, all you need is 2. And I'll tell you right now, it was Gunnar Henderson. Like, he just could not or would not put him in the game. He was on the bench for a home run, a triple. One was on Tuesday and one was on Saturday, but that's the triple. That's 4 walks from Henderson on the bench.
Yeah.
And both times you had, guys in there who did nothing. But I don't blame him. Like, Henderson has been bad. So
Yeah. And he has since been traded, and it's really more for the week 7 matchup. But he has traded him to Joe at the end of the week because he just could not find a way to get this guy in. Like I said, because he's been struggling all year. How do you put him in over some of these other guys? So, kind of had to just get rid of him.
Yeah. Yeah, I really don't blame him. When a guy that you're drafting who's that young, who's this up and comer, like Spencer Torkelson, who I got last year, it was like it reaches a point where your leash is just shorter than it is for these veterans, who are at least going to bounce back. Frank's transactions, he actually didn't make a ton of moves this week. He added Phil Maton, he added David Weathers and Kyle Gibson. He also made a trade. He received Whit Merrifield and Chris Sale, and that both of those were actually they both played a key part for him this week.
Yeah, Chris Sale had a great start, probably the best start he's had all year. Which go figure. Yeah. So good for you, Frank.
Yes. Which leads us to our key players for Frank, and let's talk about Whit Merrifield. Frank had a rough offensive week, so it was hard to really find someone here that stood out. Frankie Lindor, no, even though he hit a home run and 5 RBIs, no. So I'm going to give it to Whit Merrifield, who hit a paltry 222 and a 300 on base, but 4 runs and RBI. The 5 steals were huge, 2 walks and 5 strikeouts. Everyone else was not good. Even Josh Outman, who hit 286, struck out 7 times and didn't do anything production-wise. Just a tough week for a guy who's been trying to beef up his offense. And as you could see here on the screen, he did just that again, but we can probably talk about that next week.
Yeah, we will.
2 new additions on this team here.
Yep.
For his least valuable hitter, take your pick, but we're going to highlight Cody Bellinger here, who only hit 095 at 167, 1 RBI, 2 walks and 5 strikeouts. He came back down to earth and came back a little too fast and got hurt.
Yep, he hyperextended his left knee
while making a remarkable home run robbing catch.
Well, I mean, that's important.
Yeah, worth it.
Yeah.
For pitching, on the pitching side of things this week, we will definitely highlight Chris Sale, who had an awesome start, 8 innings, did give up a home run, a walk, 9 strikeouts, a 1.13 ERA, and a .50 WHIP. Definitely best start of the year, as you said.
That's vintage Chris Sale right there.
Yes. So, and it was against St. Louis. So good to see him, doing that against a team that can hit.
Yeah, for sure.
Throw a shout out to Tyler Wells as well. 7 innings, a win, 8 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a 43 WHIP. And Spencer Strider, who struck out 12. So, Frank had some great pitching performances this week. And he is building this team up, building this rotation, building this bullpen. But Kostas just had a better one this week.
Yeah, I mean, you look at 70 he had 70 strikeouts, which of course is is great.
Yeah.
But like a 4.04 ERA isn't terrible. No. Over 69 innings and 14 relief appearances and a 1-2. Like he had like I said, he had a really good pitching week. He just ran into Kostas, who just had a remarkable pitching week.
Yes. Yep. And it happens. It happens every once in a while.
Yep.
real quick, his Cy Yuck, we're gonna highlight AJ Minter, who goes two and a third. He takes 2 losses, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 15.43 ERA, and a 3.43 WHIP with 3 relief appearances. That's and with Raisel Iglesias back, I'm not sure what this guy holds on a fantasy team anymore.
Yeah, I mean he hadn't been good before Iglesias came back, and now he's got an 8.05 ERA. Yeah, that's not rosterable.
It's not, and it's unfortunate because he was so dominant last year, and
Yes.
I see why Frank is holding on to him. He's a Brave, and he's setting up a guy who, frankly, Raisel Iglesias's velocity has been down. He hasn't been as dominant, so I see why you're holding on to him. But it's just, this is another one of those guys. Like, what do you do with him?
I mean, 3 appearances this week. He gave up runs in all 3 of them.
Yep.
Not good.
No. All right. So this matchup here, very, very topsy-turvy as far as the standings go. Frank was in 4th, I believe, 4th or 5th, and was knocked down to 11th. And with the big victory, Kostas jumps into 5th place. What's the bigger story here, Jason? Is it Kostas jumping to 5th or Frank falling to 11th?
Yeah, I think it's both, honestly. Like this is a really interesting matchup going in, right? Because these are two managers who are very hungry, and have kind of been all over the standings so far this year. I think it's both. I think it's a great win for Kostas and a bad loss for Frank. Who had been rolling. He had a couple of good wins going, and he just got the wind knocked out of him by Kostas here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting looking at Kostas's his roster here. Like, I don't know what he was doing in the infield before he got Casey Schmidt, because he's got DJ playing second, but I don't know what he did before that, and he just got JD back from.
Well, I think he had Josh Rojas going for a little bit.
Okay.
I know he had trouble getting finding that second baseman, because he was trying to get Whit Merrifield from me before I sent him over to Frank. And I know second base had been kind of a black hole for him.
Okay. But this team is starting to come together. He's got good balance up and down the lineup at this point. And he's piecing together a bullpen who can get him some saves here with Michael King and Will Smith and Kendall Graveman, who we mentioned, Kyle Finnegan. So I think he's in a good position here, especially with Zach Gallen anchoring this team.
His schedule is interesting. He's got Henry here in week 7, and then he's got Joe, and then it's Adam, and then it's Ben and James McCloskey. So a couple of softer matchups maybe, and then a few tough ones. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how he weathers this and where he is in the middle of by the middle of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
We'll move on here.
Let's move on. And this is going to be our last matchup for the night. Christian taking an 11-9 win over Adam. Let's share the screen.
Yeah, good for Christian getting on the board with a win here. He definitely needed this win.
He did need it. It didn't really move him. It didn't really shake up the standings for either one of these two, really. Christian started in 14th and ended in 14th, and Henry started in 10th and ended in 9th. But to your point, yes, Christian needed a win. He had been kind of on hard times, and he was losing pretty big. By midweek, he was down 13-6 at one point. And then managed to tie it up on Wednesday or Thursday. And then by the weekend, he kind of turned it up on its head. Let's go over the close categories here. Christian wins by 2 strikeouts by a batter and 1 loss. Henry wins by the only triple of the matchup. He wins by 1 win and 1 relief appearance, and they tied in saves with 2. On Christian's bench this week. Okay, your turn. 2 for 13.
All right. 2 for 10 is 200. So 2 for 13 is a 152.
Oh, 154.
Oh,
Oh, I would have done a dance if you'd gotten that right.
no.
Uh, 1 run, which came on a home run, 3 RBIs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. That's it. Yeah, none of it mattered. He made some interesting lineup decisions though that like luckily didn't come back to bite him, but like on the 12th here, we'll take a look real quick on Friday. He had Abreu on the bench. He only went 1 for 4, but he had Kirilloff here wasn't in the lineup, so you could have moved way down to left field and put Abreu in here. Again, it didn't really matter, but those are the lineup things that you have to look at, you
Yes.
know, on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
I know Abreu has been awful, so I get it to an extent, but also I don't know if that was a strategy or if that was just an oversight. Because earlier in the week on Wednesday, he missed a home run from the aforementioned Lamont Wade because he had Abreu who was not starting at first base. So again, didn't come back to bite him, but it just is an interesting strategy.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
For his ads this week, he made 4. He picked up 4 ads. The one I'll highlight is Kirilloff because I really wanted this kid. I saw him tearing up AAA on his rehab assignment, and I really wanted to grab him. I just didn't have a spot for him, but we'll highlight him. Actually, let's do that because we'll go into his key players because MVP is going to be Kirilloff, who hit 462 with a 500 on base, 6 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 2 RBIs, a walk, 4 strikeouts, and he picked this guy up on Thursday. So this is just since Thursday he had all that.
Wow.
Yeah. So great ad, great pickup. I really wanted this kid. I had him last year. I hope he does well. For his least valuable player, again, Jose Abreu, 167 to 167, just a double and an RBI and 3 strikeouts. What do you do with Jose Abreu?
Yeah, this is tough. I mean,
sixth round, and he has no home runs and 16 RBIs.
And he's hitting 223. It's not even like he's hitting for average. Like, has he dropped in the order? I mean, not really. He's hitting 4th or 5th every day.
Yeah, I mean they dropped him a couple times to like I think 6, but for the most part he's been hitting cleanup, and he's just not cleaning up anything.
No, he's not. He's cleaning up everyone's vomit from this guy. I don't know. This is another guy. Like we keep mentioning these guys that are underperforming that you can't do anything with. Like AJ Minter, you're not going to drop probably. You're not going to drop Jose Abreu.
Eugenio Suarez, like
Eugenio Suarez. Can you find a manager that needs a first baseman that believes in this guy bouncing back?
But even if you do, like you're not going to get the return for for somebody you would expect to get for Jose Abreu,
Right.
And I think last year didn't he get traded last year? Right? Didn't Joe either traded him or acquired him?
Something like that.
So you're not going to get that kind of value.
No, you're not. But again, either you stash him on your bench and hope for him to heat up, or that's it, or you play him. And I mean,
you just wear it.
Yeah, but yeah, It really is such a bummer for this team.
Yeah, because that's and I mean Devers has been like okay, like you said, he hasn't been great, but 11 bombs, okay, that's good. That's good enough. But you need that other piece, and Jose Abreu should have been that other piece, and he just hasn't been.
Yeah. Yep.
On the pitching side, Cy Young, yeah, let's talk about Mitch Keller, who threw 16 innings, got 2 wins, 1 walk, 21 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a .56 WHIP. What?
Jeez.
And I mean, it's a complete game shutout against the Rockies.
How?
Who, of course, so after that is when I picked up Luis Ortiz to pitch the next game, and he was dog shit against the same team. So go figure. And then through 7 shutout innings with 13 strikeouts against the Orioles.
I mean, good for Mitch Keller. Like, finally, someone stepping up in Pittsburgh and hopefully can be an ace.
Yeah, and he's been. Josh had him and Kostas had him, and now I don't see a reason that Christian doesn't let this guy go ever. Like, hang on to him.
Please hold on to him, Christian.
Yeah. But the Cy Young is somebody who he's let go of, and that's Colin Rea. 1 appearance. So he added him. I think he added him at the end of last week. Yeah, he added him at the end of week 5, and he was supposed to start like midweek, and he ended up not. He ended up coming in his 1 relief appearance and was not good. Okay. Yeah, and then he gets sent down. So that's the end of Colin Rea. But Christian had an amazing pitching week. I mean, a 1.88 ERA and a sub-1 WHIP. So that's the only thing I could find here to call out as far as a Cy Young.
Okay.
Because everybody was, I mean, I guess Brito was not great, but who cares?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. All right. On to Henry, who on his bench, he went, well, you think 2 for 13 is good. How about 3 for 31?
Wow, that's pretty good. So that is a probably a 0.09 4.
9.7.
Ah! I just want you to dance.
Not today.
All right.
Yeah, so it's a 0.97, 2 runs, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, a steal, a walk, 6 strikeouts, 1 error. None of it plays. I don't know if we really keep a record book of bench stats, but I have to think that of people who had a bench, 3 for 31's got to be among the best. Like, that is impressive.
That's really good. That's really impressive.
Like that's not just like a 1 for 7 or something like that. Like, that's 31 at bats on the bench and only 3 hits. That's pretty good.
Yes. Well done.
He also benched a relief loss from Tim Mesa on Wednesday, and while it didn't matter because he lost the category, I still thought that was like, again, like, it was one of those instances where you had too many relief pitchers, so which one do you bench? You benched the right one. Right. I mean, it didn't matter in the long run, but at that point in the week, it was a great bench.
Yeah.
He only made 2 adds this week. They both happened on Tuesday. He added Elias Diaz and Jurickson Profar, who hit 2 home runs that day. So good on you for that, Henry.
Well done.
But that was it. That was all he did.
Okay.
So, again, I guess when you're going against a guy who's throwing, this kind of a pitching line, there's not a whole lot you can do. But so he, I guess, didn't really try. So it's tough.
Yeah.
His key players will highlight our good friend Lubab, Luis Robert, 346 with a 370 on base, 8 runs, 2 doubles, 4 homers, 7 RBIs, 7 strikeouts, and an error. For his least valuable hitter. Talk about a guy who was on fire and now is on ice. Matt Chapman, 105 average with a 190 on base, just 1 run, 1 RBI, 1 walks, 8 strikeouts, and 2 errors. This guy has been a tale of 2 seasons.
Yes, he
Like,
has. Yes.
he was a house on fire like for the first 4 weeks or so, and now he's just been dog shit.
Yeah, he's also playing some pretty decent pitching recently. Like playing against Philadelphia, Atlanta, and the Yankees is not a walk in the park as far as pitching goes.
True. It's not.
But still,
it's not Pittsburgh.
not Pittsburgh, and it's not Boston.
But still, like, and the 2 errors, the 2 errors, did they matter? They did not matter because Christian didn't have a single error.
Welcome
but
to
the 2 errors. Huh?
I said, welcome to third base. This is just continually the black hole.
You're absolutely correct. Let's talk about his pitching. For his Cy Young, again, it wasn't a great pitching week for him. So I guess I'm giving it to Jesus Luzardo. 6 innings, a win, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 150 ERA and WHIP. Not a remarkable start, but it was good enough. Charlie Morton also had a good start, but he did give up a home run, so I knock him for that. The Cy Young, I don't know why this guy is rostered, but I don't know. Brock Burke, an inning and 2/3, a loss, a homer, a walk, 3 strikeouts, 21.60 ERA, a 3 WHIP over 3 relief appearances. The 3 appearances he gave up runs in 2 of them, and it was just not very good. And he hasn't really done anything this year. I mean, he's got 2 wins somehow. I'm not sure if this guy really belongs on a team.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he came in for a save opportunity against Oakland and then gave up the walk-off 3-run bomb to Rooker.
You're absolutely right. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So because I think that Will Smith was unavailable that night. But
yes. I do recall that. Yeah. But like it's weird that it went to Burke. I don't know if Leclerc was not available or if he'd already pitched, but I don't know about this guy.
Yeah.
All right. So these are 2 teams. Look, Henry is still in the hunt. Sitting in 9th place. He's still in there. I don't know if the 2 ads this week was intentional or if he just didn't, if he didn't think of anybody that he could add to try and improve his week. But, hopefully he can rebound. Because again, he had a great start to the week and he just kind of tailed off, starting midweek.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing about his team too, that I really like the bullpen that he's built here, which does beg the question of, do you need a guy like Brock Burke? Do you need a guy like Tim Meza? Because like having Matt Strahm, Devin Williams, Joan Duran, Carlos Estevez, Mark Leiter Jr., like those are pieces to put a bullpen together.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this Moreta kid has been pretty decent, but like, is he really giving value? I guess maybe he's striking out guys, I guess. So I guess there's something there, but I agree.
But yeah, no, the 2 ads was definitely a question for me as well. I mean, what are you gonna do? His lineup is pretty solid. I don't know that you would necessarily remove anyone except for like he's got that first base hole, like you mentioned now with Crone on the IL. But
right. So now he's trying to fill it with, guys like Andy Ibanez and Will Myers and but maybe he's a guy who trades for Jose Abreu.
Maybe. I'm not sure it would help this team much, but yes. Maybe.
As for Christian, I mean, we talked about that offense and like if Devers, really for Abreu, if Abreu can get going, this offense isn't as bad as it looks or as it's been. But that Abreu thing is so tough.
It is. The Abreu thing is tough. I'm not sure I'm crazy about this outfield. I know that you mentioned Kirilloff and the interest you would have in him, but I haven't fully bought in on him yet. Brandon Marsh
Right.
is another one I haven't fully bought in on. Verdugo is just a guy I don't like personally. But yeah, there's not a ton of star power, I think, is what I'm looking for in this lineup. Besides Devers.
Right. Devers, Abreu, and Contreras, who has been kind of just in. Like, he hasn't been great his first year in St. Louis here.
Yeah, he hasn't. And Zach Wheeler has been good, but not like an ace. Corbin Burns
Right.
has been good, but not Corbin Burns ace, not number one pitcher overall. So if
But
Zach
he's
Wheeler
getting
and Corbin Burns are underperforming, that's a problem. But
right.
his
And
pitching
so
wasn't
you're
good.
relying on guys. You're relying on guys like Mitch Keller and Nate Eovaldi,
Yeah, who are great,
and
but
it's working for now. But can you really rely on them long term?
right. These are his questions. But I mean, do you think he's out of it? Do you think 14th place in week 6 is out of it, or week 7?
Out of it, I can't say that, right? Because we just saw Frank go from 5th to 11th in 1 week. So if Christian, let's look at his schedule. Let's look at the schedules real quick. Because if he can put up, a couple big wins here, I think he can put right back into it.
Oh yeah,
Let's
I agree. I certainly agree. Let's take a look. Let's see who he's playing against. Has he gone through the gauntlet yet?
Let's see. So he's got Joe right now, which is that's a problem. And then it's Adam and Ben and McCloskey. Yeah, so that's
those
he's in
four.
it right now.
Yeah, he's in it. He's in it.
Yeah, I mean, if he can somehow escape Joe with a minimal loss, and then come back with a good win against Adam, like that at least will hopefully keep him in it.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it is. I think for him to not fall out of it, because by the end of the gauntlet, he's going into week 11, which is halfway through our season. So I think he's got to come out of that somehow. What do you think? 2-2?
Yeah, at least, and that's gonna be tough,
That is good.
against Ben and Joe and McCloskey. Like, that's gonna be hard to get 2 wins there.
Yeah, it is. So he's up against it right now. He's not at the bottom of the standings, but he's got some climbing to do. It's early enough that he can, but by week 11, if you've gone 0-4 the next 4 weeks, like I don't know that it's doable at that point.
Yeah.
So.
And real quick, since we're here, let's look at Henry. He is facing Kostas this week, and it has Frank, Sherman, and then he goes into the gauntlet. So, yeah, this could be an opportunity for him to kind of get himself in a better shape to enter that gauntlet, and hopefully still come out of it in a decent spot in the standings.
Yeah. Hey Jason, there's me and you, week 18 and 19. Aren't we our own gauntlet? Just the two of us?
I like to think so. We're like, because this is gauntlet number 1, and then we're gauntlet number 2, and that's what matters.
Just the two of us. Doesn't matter who's around us, just us.
That's it. Just us.
Yep. Good luck, league.
Come and get us.
Come and get us.
Speaking of the league, shall we dive into our managers of the week?
Let's do it.
Man, this was tough this week. I don't know about you, but I struggled with with picking people out of here. A lot of good managers this week.
Oh man. Yeah. I Are you starting with me?
Yes, I am.
I guess there was only one answer to that question. Damn. This is all right. I'll give my number 3 to Ari Nisman. A 14-5 win over Mike Sherman. I know we didn't talk about this matchup once yet at all, never. But
Never.
uh, he needed a big win because he was in last or 15th, I think, and he got his big win. And his team wasn't incredible, but he played against a team who was a little colder and got a 14-5 win. He made a couple moves, I think, if I remember correctly.
He did, and in fact, and I'll just go ahead and say that he's also my number 3.
Okay.
The score was 11-8 going into Sunday, and ended up 14-5. Now I didn't follow the matchup closely enough to know what exactly transpired on Sunday, but I do know you're right. He did make some ads. And look, this is Ari versus Mike Sherman. Like this is like, I don't know, Hulk Hogan against Andre the Giant. Like this is like two old school guys, going, who've been part of this league forever. It just feels right watching these two guys, go head to head, and Ari came out on top. So yes, he is also my number 3.
Awesome. All right. My number 2. Oh my God, what am I supposed to do here?
Yeah.
All right. Is it nepotism to go with my brother here?
If it is, we'll just ignore it.
So 14-4, Josh takes down a huge win over Brian Lebo. And once again, just manages the hell out of it and walks away with a huge victory. And it puts him in 4th place, which is a really sweet spot to be.
Yes.
At this point in the season, where you don't have the stress and the attention of the 1st and 2nd place seeds, but you're just sort of chilling in that 4th spot. And I feel like it's a really good place to be. His team came out and hit this week. Nice power speed combo with 9 homers, 22 RBIs, and 9 steals. He also hit 310 and was on base at a 383 clip. So like, this is not a fluke what he's doing here.
No.
And some guys like came to life this week. Like Anthony Rizzo was on absolute fire this week, which it's about time. But, he got contributions from Yordan Alvarez and Nick Senzel and Nick Castellanos. His team is well-rounded, and that's even with the injuries he's got piled up. And that's because of the savvy management decisions that he's made.
Absolutely. And man, it's so tough. I'm gonna give my number 2 to a whole bunch of people, because everybody's deserving of it.
I know.
Bobby Russo. I watched that matchup against Joe. That great win over Joe. Bobby Russo. I'm gonna give it to Kostas, my number 2, for knocking Frank down, who was on fire for a minute there, and just knocked him back down to 11th in the standings with that big win. I don't know if it was the cleanest win we've seen, but I mean, it was a quadruple up over Frank Bucco, who's one of our tough managers of the league. So I have to give credit to Kostas.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel bad now. I want to give a shout out to Bobby as well. He, taking down a 12-7 win over Joe is never easy. So he gets
and he had it pretty much the whole week too. Like it was, he had it on lockdown. So I really wanted to give it to Bobby.
Yeah, and that was part of my decision as to why I didn't necessarily give him one. Wait, you gave him number 1?
No.
But it part of my decision behind why I didn't is because he did have it on lockdown. So it wasn't necessarily a ton of management that was necessary.
Right.
Um, so that's the only reason, but he deserves a ton of credit for this as well.
Yeah. All right, my friend, who is number uno?
Yeah, I got to give it to Kostas. Um, I a 16-4 quadruple up over, you just said it, over red hot Frank Bucco's team, who's coming in, I think, in that sweet fourth spot, and just like pummeled him all the way down to 11. And poor Frank, but Costas deserves the credit for the work he put in this week. They both put in a ton of work, but hats off to Costas. Like, what
Yeah,
a statement he made here.
you're absolutely right. It was a statement victory,
Yeah. Yep.
and hopefully he can follow it up, and keep on moving up.
Yeah.
First of all, I also want to shout out to my opponent Adam for giving me a great week. We
Yeah.
ended up in a tie, and it was looking a lot worse for me, and you made me panic. So kudos to you, Adam. I hope I can't wait till we meet again, and I hope that you do well this season because you're a fun manager to play against.
Yeah.
But my number one has to go to you, my friend, because you took down Ben Nisman. You kind of took him down in his own game, the way just how you described it, and just watching that matchup was masterful. The way that you went about it, and I am now reaping the benefits because I know Ben's going to take it all out on me this week in week 7. But I can't understate what you did to him this week. So congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. And credit to you too, because you were down pretty big, if I remember, right?
Yeah, I think it was like 15-3 at one point.
Yeah. So pretty incredible comeback. Um, and it's hard to give managers of the week who end up in a tie. And I think we've heard that debate on these shows before,
For sure.
uh, but definitely credit where it's deserved. Credit to McCloskey, who took a win over Matt Losi. So like, you know, all the managers deserve a ton of it this week.
Yeah. Great week all around, guys.
Yeah. Hey,
And
good work, guys.
it's only 6 weeks. Like we still have so much more to go. I can't wait to see how this all unfolds.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. It's been a good time. And hopefully I can keep cruising up there, but I don't know. I
Hold
don't know how I
hold on to it as tight as you can.
I will. As tight as I can. I'll squeeze my butt cheeks.
On that happy note, yeah, I think that's gonna put a wrap on this episode, Mike. Thanks for doing this tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I look forward to next week breaking down the Jason Ashby versus Ben Nisman showdown. So that's always a good time to good matchup to comment on, and I'm so excited I get to watch it all week.
Yeah, me too. I'm scared to death, but I'm gonna do the best I can. Ben, good luck to you.
Yeah.
Until then, I guess it's been real,
And it has been fun.
and it's always real fun in the bigs.
Mhm.
We'll see you next time, guys.